Welcome to my very first new look rebuild here of Madden 24. What these are going to be is going to be the rebuilds following the NFL draft, and there is a pretty main point in today's rebuild, which will be the New Orleans Saints. And that main point is going to be quarterback Spencer Rattler. They just took him in the 5th round of the draft. If you did not know, I am a massive Oklahoma Sooners fan. He was our quarterback for a couple years, and then Caleb Williams took over, and then they both transferred away. But a lot of people are going to be doing the rebuilds with the top drafted quarterbacks. The first one I want to do is Spencer Rattler. I have made him a star dev trait since he is the main part of this rebuild. But obviously, he was not their only draft pick, and oh my god, we need a left guard apparently. We'll have to sign one of those in free agency. But they did take Fuaga. I probably just said your name wrong. I actually had to change the way his name was spelled because he was originally censored. But this left tackle was their first round pick, so obviously we will try to build him up. Then over on defense, there's really nothing I can do about Brian Brisset having a hidden dev trait. I believe it's a star dev trait if I remember correctly. But they also took Kool-Aid McKinstry in the 2nd round. I made him a 76 overall with a star dev trait as well. Now for the schemes and playbooks I will be using, at least in the first year here, we may change them, we may not. We're going to run the offensive scheme for West Coast Zone Run and the base 4-3 defensive scheme, along with the Dallas Cowboys offensive playbook because it's completely broken in this game, and then the Browns defensive playbook. For our new left guard, let's go ahead and sign left guard Dalton Reisner. He comes in with a star dev trait and has some pretty solid ratings to start out with. I also want to give our rookie quarterback a new receiver, and that's what we're going to do in Tyler Boyd. He comes in as an 80 overall. As of recording this, he is still not signed to anybody. Now that I've said that, as I'm recording this, he will probably get signed, but for now, he's going to be a New Orleans Saint. And I would have loved to add a tight end here, but I don't really see any of them better ratings-wise than Taysom Hill, so I guess we'll go ahead and keep Hill for now. For right now, I am going to leave Derek Carr on the roster just because I believe cutting him would be a massive cap hit. Does he have the mentor player tag right now? Because if he does, that'll be a massive boost to Rattler. No, he has the bridge QB player tag, which means we probably need to go find a mentor. So I guess we're going to scroll down this list until we see a mentor player tag. We do have Tua's little brother here in free agency who apparently has 3 years in the league already. That's really not accurate from this, but Nick Foles does have a mentor player tag, so I guess we're going to go ahead and bring him in. I honestly don't know if the CPU will cut him or not, but I would love to have just that little bit of bonus XP every week for Rattler. As a matter of fact, let's go ahead and cut these other quarterbacks so the CPU does know to keep him. I'm not going to sit here every single season and do all of the training camp, but I will kind of focus on some of the key players. So target passing, obviously I'm going to go in and use Spencer Rattler. The final rep on this one really won't matter because we already have the gold badge here, and we're going to completely miss every single target. I really was not trying there. We get the gold badge. Let's see if we can get upgraded to a superstar dev trait. That would be pretty awesome to get immediately right off the bat, but I doubt it. We do end up with a skill point and 2,000 experience. Following that, I went ahead and did the rushing attack with Alvin Kamara, the red zone attack wide receiver battle with Chris Olave, and then the DB battle with Kool-Aid McKinstry. Obviously, it's incredibly rare to get a dev trait upgrade. We don't get one here, but hopefully we get one throughout the seasons. Well, for the rebuild at least, it did not seem to cut anybody important. Sometimes with these custom rosters, the CPU will do weird stuff, but we still keep our first round tackle. We still have Spencer Rattler. It actually kept Nick Foles as our mentor quarterback, so that's good to see. And we still have Kool-Aid McKinstry here at a 77 overall. Oh, and another fun fact about this custom roster, apparently Willie Gay is now going to be censored. This is an active player in the NFL, and EA has censored his first and last name, which is just absolutely insane. And I really wish they would give us the option to at least turn off the censor if their censors are going to be this awful. Now, there is a few things we really need to take care of before we actually simulate the first game of the season, and the first thing is to choose a draft class, which I'm just going to keep the auto-generated rookies here. Looking at the national scouting here, you can see the strengths are right end, corner, and quarterback, but there's not a single defensive end in the top 5. It's a wide receiver and then 4 quarterbacks. Obviously, we're not going to be looking at quarterbacks in this rebuild. We could potentially look at receivers though, but for the #1 scout at the national level, I've gotten Calvin Heath, who is a defensive end and outside linebacker scout. And you're going to notice a trend here because I really want to know about this defensive end class, so I've hired another one that's a defensive end and outside linebacker, one that's a defensive end and running back, outside linebacker and safety, and offensive tackle and defensive end. But since it is listed as like the top strength of this class, let's go take a look at the right ends here. There are at least 5 projected in the first round, and then these guys are all rounds 1 to 2, and then we have a 3 to 4. So I'm hoping we learn a lot about these guys. And the reason I'm really scouting defensive ends in the first season of this rebuild is because Cameron Jordan is getting pretty up there in age, already 34 years old. And then over at right end, yes, Chase Young is only 24 right now on this roster, obviously a bit older in real life, but he's only on a 1-year contract, so we may not be able to bring him back, and I don't want to get caught with no defensive line. It's opening day this week and a fresh start for every team around the league. You'll be facing the Titans. What's the key to victory? We're going to say stifling defense. I'm going to really count on the defense this year. We're going to say disrupting the pass because I believe we're playing the Titans, so they have Will Levis. We need to beat the Titans and allow less than 200 yards passing. Some rookies get brought along slowly, but Spencer Rattler is making his debut at the earliest opportunity. What are you expecting this week? We're going to say no expectations because I know that gives them an easy 1,000 experience. In the next step, we need to set our season goal, and it's 4 wins, 7 wins, make the playoffs, or win the Super Bowl. I feel like there needs to be more options here. I would really love a option to have like 8 wins or 9 wins, so we'll go ahead and commit to 7 wins for now. But now let's figure out if we can win in week 1 in Spencer Rattler's debut. Unfortunately, we do not pick up the win. Final score is 24-21. Will Levis apparently gashed us for 3 touchdowns. That is horrible for us. And Rattler went for 156, 1 touchdown and a pick. So not a terrific start for Spencer Rattler, but I would say a much worse start for our defense. Let's see if we can rebound in week 2. Alright, we actually pick up a win against the Carolina Panthers by a final score of 28-21. How did Rattler play in this game? Well, once again, our defense allowed 3 passing touchdowns. Rattler went for 197 and a score. And then let's see, we didn't check how Kamara did on the last game, but this game he goes for 2 scores. Well, we get a 1-1 start to the year. I am now going to jump to mid-season and see how we're doing at that point. I would say we're not doing too bad here. We are 3-4. We are second place in the division. We have the number 11 offense in the league and the number 28 defense. Okay, we're going to need that one to change just a bit. At this point in his rookie year, Rattler has 11 touchdowns to 5 interceptions. Alvin Kamara has 470 yards and 7 scores. And receiving, Rashid Shaheed is our leading receiver with 495 yards and 5 touchdowns. Chris Olave has only scored 1 touchdown on the year. So I just decided to hop on this screen to look at the players that we'll have to re-sign for next season. There's only 6 players on here, but our cap room is negative $48 million. Well, this team's probably going to look a lot different in season 2 of the rebuild, but for now we need to get a little bit farther into this year. The last thing we saw, we were 3-4 on the year. We apparently started 3-2, but have now lost 5 straight games, so we are sitting at 3-7. How about we just go to the end of the season from here? I'm going to go ahead and make the assumption that our team is not going to make the playoffs here in season 1 of this rebuild. Well, we finished the season kind of strong. Our final record is 8-9, and we apparently got a contract extension out of that. And I feel like Rattler did not have a horrible rookie year. 4,200 yards, 33 touchdowns to 16 interceptions. Obviously, you'd love to cut back on the interceptions. Alvin Kamara, 1,200 yards and 19 scores. And then receiving, Rashid Shaheed over 1,000 yards and 11 touchdowns. Chris Olave over 1,000 yards and 8 scores. Taysom Hill caught 4 touchdowns. Tyler Boyd caught 6. And Alvin Kamara got 2. What about defense? What happened over there? Censored apparently led our team in tackles with 135. And sacks, Chase Young got 7 interceptions. Wow, we did not get a lot of those, did we? This season's Super Bowl goes to Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys. As a Philadelphia Eagles fan, it makes me want to vomit, but they do win the Super Bowl here in this universe. The NFL MVP goes to Josh Allen. Coach of the Year is Nick Sirianni. Offensive Player of the Year is Josh Allen. Defensive Player of the Year is Micah Parsons. Rookie of the Year goes to Rashee Rice. And Defensive Rookie of the Year goes to Jared Verse. We do have one retirement going into the offseason. That is Cameron Jordan has retired. I don't know what exactly that's going to do for our cap space, but hopefully it kind of helps us out. Well, we at least got back into the positives for the salary cap. We only have $20,000 in space though. Luckily, only 6 players ready to negotiate their contracts, and really I don't think these are any guys that I'm going to be bringing back. Wow, okay, it really is going to suck to lose Rashid Shaheed. He actually was really good for us last year, but I can't afford to bring back anybody. Now that I'm at the actual free agent stage, it says we have $860,000 in cap space. I am going to go see if we can free up any more though. Looking through the roster here, and there's really not anyone we can get rid of that's going to significantly impact our cap space. I am happy to see, though, that apparently Chase Young has a 2-year contract on this roster. I'm pretty sure in real life he signed a 1-year deal with the Saints, but I could be wrong there. But there is really no one we can get rid of that would actually help our cap space. Let's see how much space we would actually lose if we got rid of Derek Carr. It looks like we would lose $10 million, so we get to keep Derek Carr for 1 more year. That is an awful contract New Orleans gave him. Though as much as this absolutely sucks, I cannot really participate in free agency at all, so I guess we're really going to have to build through the draft. And speaking of the draft, here is the final mock draft. I know I haven't showed any of the other ones just because they really kind of don't matter. Obviously, if you've played Madden 24, you know that the mock draft tells you exactly how the first round is going to fall here, and we don't pick until 14. They are projecting us to take a defensive end, which probably wouldn't be too crazy. There are a few players up here I really like that I would possibly trade up for if it wouldn't be too expensive, like Enrique Telfer here is a really solid receiver, but I think it's going to be pretty expensive to move up, so we may just have to sit exactly where we are. Now, the problem we're going to have here in the draft is this is actually going to be the class that the Saints just used, where they did not have a ton of draft picks. We have our own first round pick, we have Denver's second round pick, then we have a 5th round pick and 2 6s, and that is it. So with us not having that many picks in this draft, I'm actually going to trade back a few spots with the Chicago Bears and pick up a 4th and a 6th rounder for this year. And I'm not going to lie, that might not be the only trade that I end up making here in the first round. I may fall back again if I really don't like any of these players. Never mind, I think we're going to stick here and take a player. Defensive end Enrique Brewer out of Michigan has C block shedding, D finesse move, but A power move and A tackle. Also coming in with B awareness, B play rec, and at a pretty solid combine. So Enrique Brewer, you are our first pick in this rebuild, and you are a hidden dev trade. And I know this trade is going to be probably a little bit controversial here, but we are going to make the trade in the second round with Denver's pick at pick 5. Rather than take a player this year, we're going to trade with the Vikings and pick up a 1st and a 6th round pick for the next season. And then we don't have another pick until the 4th round, but the main reason I did that is I don't think one draft class is really going to help us all that much in this rebuild. I think having 2 first round picks next season could be massive though. But with this pick in the 4th round, we're going to take Telvin Stamper, a 22-year-old outside linebacker with B awareness, B man coverage, B tackle, C to D play rec, which isn't great, but he also had a really solid combine with good speed and good acceleration. So welcome to the Saints, and he also has a hidden dev trade. Now in the 5th round with pick 14, we're going to take tight end Tyrone Barr out of Liberty. I really don't know a ton about him, but he does have B run block, and then he has solid speed and great acceleration. I highly doubt he's going to take Taysom Hill's job, but welcome to the Saints with a normal dev trade. Not really much of a shock there. With our first pick in the 6th round, I'm going to take right guard Justin Van Dyke. He is a potential undrafted free agent, but I really like his ratings, especially around this area, and we really need some offensive linemen, so Van Dyke will come in with a normal depth trait. He is probably awful, but we'll find that out in a minute. With our next pick, which is just at pick 14, so we only had one team in between us, we're going to take running back J.D. Brown out of Memphis, and he will come in with a normal depth trait as well. And our final pick in the class is going to be defensive tackle Terrell Kyle out of Arizona. I like most of his ratings, but he's also going to be a normal depth trait. Now, generally in these rebuilds, I only pick in the first 3 rounds, and then I let the computer take over from there. Since we only had one pick in the first 3 rounds, I went ahead and did them all, and apparently that was a terrible decision, because Stamper was a hidden dev trade, I believe, but he is a 62 overall, so I don't think he's going to be starting anytime soon, but we do get a 74 overall left end. And the receiver I talked about before the draft ended up being an 80 overall. We could have taken Kevin Bankston with our pick, an 80 overall corner. I was not really looking at corners though. Before we get into this season, there are actually some moves I can make to try to free up a little bit more cap space, like getting rid of a 74 overall Taysom Hill would free up $10 million, so that's exactly what we're going to do. I'm going to see if anyone wants to trade for him, and I will literally take anything. There we go. Taysom Hill is now a San Francisco 49er, and we get a 6th round pick in return. I really didn't care what we got. We're not exactly going to shoot for the stars in this season. Yet again, we're going to go ahead and commit to getting 7 wins. And for this season's recruiting class, we're really going to go after wide receiver. You're going to notice a trend there. Wide receiver and tight end at our National Scout. Wide receiver and tight end at our West Scout. Central is going to be outside linebacker and safety. Northeast is wide receiver and safety. And Southeast is wide receiver and tight end. because it does say one of this class's strength is wide receiver. So taking a look at that, there is one guy projected in the top 5, a couple guys projected in round 1, and then round 1 to 2 has a few guys in that area. From here on out at the start of the season, we're just going to go right to the midseason point and see how that team is doing by week 8. Well, this is not a very good sign. We end up at 2-5, so as of right now, we are worse than we were last year, but we are still only one game out of winning the division, so if we can turn it around, that would be great. We have the number 3 offense in the league somehow and the number 26 defense. At the midway point, Rattler has 12 touchdowns and 7 interceptions, Kamara 500 yards and 6 scores, and receiving Chris Olave seems to be our number 1 this year. Oh, I did forget to mention I signed Quez Watkins in free agency. We needed some more speed at receiver, and I felt like he kind of filled that role. Well, with that start of the year, I think it's pretty safe to say we can go right into the playoffs yet again. And yeah, we do not finish as a great team this year. We go 9-8 last year. This year we go 5-12, so we should at least pick kind of high in the draft. Rattler got career highs in a lot of categories here. He almost threw for 5,000 yards. He got 37 touchdowns, but threw 22 interceptions. Alvin Kamara ran for 1,200 yards and 10 scores. Receiving, Chris Olave had a fantastic year. Quez Watkins with a career resurgence in New Orleans with 1,000 yards and 11 scores. And Cedric Wilson 1,000 yards and 6 touchdowns. So we had 3 guys break 1,000 yards. Over on defense, and it looks like censored Willie Gay is still going to be our leading tackler here. In sacks, Chase Young got 8, Brian Brisset got 4, and our rookie Enrique Brewer only came away with 1. Really not what you want to see from a first-round pick. Interceptions, Demario Davis got 3, Kool-Aid McKinstry got 3, and then Willie Gay also came away with 2. Adebo got 1, or Adebo, not really sure, and Marshawn Lattimore got 1. And for the second year in a row, the Dallas Cowboys have won the Super Bowl. So now they are back-to-back Super Bowl champions, and this is my absolute nightmare. Enrique Telfer wins Offensive Rookie of the Year in Tampa Bay. That was the receiver that looked really good. And then Rashard Rucker, a defensive end for Arizona, won Defensive Rookie of the Year. I knew rebuilding the Saints was going to be an absolute nightmare with their cap space, but going into the next offseason, we only have $2.68 million in cap. Let me see if there's anyone else I can get rid of to try to actually open up some space so we can bring back some of these guys. Big news here, we can finally move off Derek Carr. We would save $34 million in cap. I will gladly take an $11.4 million penalty. I don't think anyone realistically would be willing to trade for him and take that contract. So Derek Carr, you are a free agent. The first thing we have to do is accept the 5th-year option for Chris Olave, and obviously that is happening. Paulson Adebo, or Adebo, I'm not 100% sure how to pronounce his name, so I am sorry, Saints fans, but he doesn't have a ton of interest in coming back. We will go ahead and bump this up just a bit to see if he will take a player-friendly deal to come back, and he will be returning. We're not going to take the 5th-year option on left tackle Trevor Penning, though. He's not even our starter anymore. Is there any chance we can actually get Tyrann Mathieu to come back? He's an 87 overall, only wants a 1-year deal, has a bit of interest in coming back here, and he is going to test out free agency. Quez Watkins just had an absolute insane year here in New Orleans, so let's go ahead and throw a 2-year offer at him. He has very little interest in coming back and will not be returning. Well, I don't think anyone else is really worth bringing back here, so we will right now have $27 million in cap space. But there is one more move I want to make, and that is going to be seeing what we can get for running back Alvin Kamara. Right now, he would save $22.4 million in cap if we can actually get rid of him. He is an 85 overall with a superstar depth trait, so I imagine someone will want him. And there is a bit of interest in him, but none of these really jump out to me. I would really rather have some draft picks. I'm just going to throw this at the Raiders and see if they take it. Alvin Kamara for their first round pick this year. Will they accept that? Nowhere close. Alright, what we've done now is we've thrown the Vikings first round pick that they gave us in the last draft along with this package. So we would be able to move up 12 spots and they get running back Alvin Kamara. So can we get that done? Absolutely. And I actually got to play in free agency this year. So we have brought in left guard Kendrick Green, right in Samson Ebukam. I probably said your name wrong. We brought back Pete Warner. I signed safety Reed Blankenship and safety Eddie Jackson. Then I signed defensive tackle Michael Pierce and finally running back Jalen Warren. So we downgrade 1 overall point, get a running back that's 4 years younger for a lot cheaper. Now before we go into the draft, here is the final mock draft like I showed you before the last one. Right now, we have the number 4 overall pick, and we're mocked to take wide receiver Mark Reynolds, and honestly, that's probably not a bad mock for us, because he right now, I can see A, catching a deep route, A, release, B, catching traffic. He seems to be pretty solid. And then obviously we traded up the Vikings pick all the way up to 17. I believe that trade was with the Raiders, if I remember correctly. By the way, we are slated to take a right tackle. And now that I am looking at all of the receivers here at the draft, Mark Reynolds is a pretty obvious selection for us. He's going to come in with A, awareness, A, deep route, A, run block, A, spectacular catch, medium route, release, catching, stiff arm. He has good speed, great acceleration, so he's not the fastest guy out there, but he's going to be a monster for us, I think. So Mark Reynolds, welcome to New Orleans with a hidden depth trait and 92 speed at 6'5". Later on in the draft, I have gone ahead and made a trade. We are giving up our second first-round pick this year at pick 17, a fourth-round pick later in this draft, and a third-round pick next year to Philadelphia to move up to pick number 11. And this man is the reason why. Tight end Junior Ward out of USC. You can see all of his attributes here. He looks to be a fantastic prospect. He does have great speed, marginal acceleration, so not the fastest tight end you're ever going to see, but you really don't need like elite speed at this position. So Junior Ward, welcome to New Orleans, and he has a hidden depth trait. And then we don't have a second round pick. Philadelphia actually already owned that before I even made that initial trade. So now we go to the third round where I'm going to take left guard Ty DeMarco out of Texas, and he is going to come in with a hidden depth trait. Like I said after the last draft, generally after the first 3 rounds I let the computer take over, and that's what I did. But we ended up getting a great haul in the first 3 rounds, an 80 overall receiver in Mark Reynolds, an 80 overall tight end in Junior Ward, and a 74 overall left guard. And then we got a 65 overall safety, a 68 overall corner, a 67 middle linebacker, and a 66 defensive tackle. We ended up getting 2 of the 3 highest rated players in the draft. The only other guy that was an 80 overall was a safety that the Cardinals took at pick number 5. We are going to keep the same goal we've had the last couple seasons of just getting 7 wins. I would say our biggest team needs are not really the strength of this upcoming draft class, so I've added a corner and a middle linebacker scout to be our national scout. Then we have an offensive tackle and defensive end, offensive tackle and defensive tackle, defensive end and defensive tackle, and then wide receiver and safety to round it out. I kind of expect a lot out of this offense this year because Reynolds and Ward are both going to be really good players. They could both end up being superstar or even superstar X-Factor players coming out of the rookie season, and I really think Rattler is going to need to take advantage of those guys and maybe just take care of the ball a little bit more. Alright, this team has definitely gotten better. We are now 5-2 here at the midway point. We have the number 1 offense in the league, the number 29 defense. Not exactly great there. Defensive points per game, we are number 30, but apparently our offense is just putting up a ton of points at 31.1 a game. Alright, I have no idea where this Spencer Rattler came from. 2,100 yards and 22 touchdowns and only 3 interceptions, so he's definitely gotten a lot better. On the ground, Jaylen Warren has ran for 400 yards and 3 scores. And then receiving, Chris Olave, 600 yards and 8 touchdowns. Mark Reynolds has 6 scores. And then our rookie tight end, Junior Ward, 313 for 3 touchdowns. So we're getting the rookies involved, which is really cool to see. Well, obviously we look like a really hot offense at the midway point in the season. Let's see if we can finish that out and actually finally get to a playoff game today. You know, at first I was a little bit worried because I didn't see a playoff matchup. Well, that's because we finished 13-4 and end up as the 1 seed this season. And this is absolutely insane right now. Rattler is currently a 90 overall quarterback with just a ton of boost right now. But if you didn't see that on the last screen just now, wide receiver Mark Reynolds and tight end Junior Ward are both superstar X-Factors. Spencer Rattler may very well win MVP with his performance. 5,200 yards, 43 touchdowns, and 8 interceptions. Jaylen Warren ran for 1,200 yards and 12 scores. And then receiving Mark Reynolds, a rookie receiver, 1,500 yards and 16 touchdowns. Chris Olave almost 1,500 yards and 14 scores. And Junior Ward also found the end zone 6 times. Over on defense, Demario Davis actually leads the team in tackles this year. He is getting pretty up there, which is one of the reasons I was scouting middle linebackers this year. Sacks, Brian Brisset only came away with 4.5. We really need to up those numbers, but Kool-Aid McKinstry, Paulson Adebo, and Marshawn Lattimore all came away with 3 interceptions. Reed Blankenship came away with 2. Now officially our first ever playoff matchup is against the 8-9 Philadelphia Eagles in New Orleans. And the way I'm going to handle this is I'm going to do Super Sim, but if it is close at the end of the game, we will go ahead and watch and see if we can't pull out a victory. However, this game was never in danger for us. The final score is 38-28. We're headed to the NFC Championship game, and this game got off to a pretty hot start because I'm pretty sure we got a pick six to kick things off. But obviously, we will check out the stats here to see if that exactly happened. Spencer Rattler went 28 of 31 for 332 yards and 3 touchdowns. Jalen Hurts, 300 yards, 3 scores, and 1 interception. On the ground, no one really was able to do anything. Saquon Barkley got 62 yards and a score. Kendre Miller, our backup running back, ran in for a touchdown. Receiving, Dallas Goedert was absolutely on fire, 11 for 135. But our rookie tight end was really not quiet either, 10 for 106 in the score. A.J. Brown got a touchdown. Mark Reynolds caught 2 touchdowns, and Daniel Clemens, their backup receiver I would assume, caught 1 touchdown. Now let's see if we actually got a pick six. Marshawn Lattimore got 1 interception, and then he also got 1 touchdown. So yes, Lattimore came away with a pick six today. So now as we move on to the NFC Championship, we get to take on the San Francisco 49ers. So the Dallas Cowboys are not going to three-peat this year, which makes me feel a little bit better, but I'm wondering if we can now get to a Super Bowl. Well, we actually get to jump into this game with 2:34 to go. We have a 4-point lead, and we're going to see if we can get out of here with a win. It's a handoff to Jaylen Warren to the outside, who has the first down the sideline, and is finally going to get brought down to the 47. However, they would force him out of bounds, so it does stop the clock at 2:27 to play. Rattler lines up under center. We're going to go right back to Warren. On the outside, he will get met and brought down for a short carry. That one would obviously take us down to the 2-minute warning. So now a 2nd and 7 with 2 minutes to play. From the 50-yard line, it's a handoff up the middle, and he's going to get met and brought down. They burn their first timeout. That sets up a 3rd and 6, and Rattler comes out with a 5-wide set from the 49. He'll drop back to pass. He's going to throw this one to the outside. That is caught, and he's going to get brought down, setting up a 4th and 3. So San Francisco is going to get the ball back with a chance to win this game and head to the Super Bowl. The punt is sent away, and it was not a great punt. It goes out of bounds at the 30-yard line. I would say that was an absolutely awful punt. They come out with a minute 48 and 1 timeout. Purdy will line up in shotgun. Christian McCaffrey's in the backfield. He drops back to pass. He's going to be under pressure. Gets rid of it at the last second. Finds his man. That's Brandon Ayuk, who is brought down for a 7-yard play. A field goal will not get it done. They need a touchdown. Under a minute and a half to play here. It's a 2nd and 3. Purdy will drop back, and he throws to the outside. He will have the first down to Brandon Ayuk, and he's brought down to the 44, out of bounds, so it stops the clock. A minute 22 to play here in the NFC Championship. Purdy is back in shotgun. McCaffrey is still the running back. He drops back a quick throw, another catch by Ayuk, and that one's a 5-yard gain. They don't burn that final timeout just yet, though. 2nd and 5, a minute 8 to play. Purdy back in shotgun. Will drop back to pass again. He's going deep over the middle. He's got George Kittle all the way to the Saints' 29-yard line. We are now officially under a minute to play. About 45 seconds. Purdy back in shotgun again. Will drop back and look to pass again. Going to the outside. Once again finds Kittle. This one down to the 12-yard line. They are still not burning that final timeout just yet. 20 seconds to go here in the NFC Championship. Purdy is lined up under center. He'll drop back to pass. He's going to roll to the outside. Throws on the run. Caught by McCaffrey, and he's brought down. They have to burn that final timeout there. 13 seconds to play in the game. From the 11-yard line, it's a 2nd and 9. Purdy will drop back, and a quick throw to the outside will fall incomplete. 10 seconds remaining. They come out in shotgun for the very next play. Please, defense, make a play here. He's going to be under pressure. He gets sacked on the play, but they rule it incomplete. How is that not a fumble? So they are going to get one more play here on a 4th and 9 from the 11. Purdy back in shotgun. Will drop back to pass. Actually has good protection. He steps up, throws on the run to the end zone, and finds George Kittle as time expires. Touchdown, San Francisco. I want to know exactly how in the hell this play was not a fumble. It looked like he was trying to throw it here. I guess it's just a weird Madden animation, but to me that looks like it should have been a fumble against the 49ers forced by Brian Brisset, and they rule it incomplete. They live to see one more down and manage to find their tight end in the end zone. Then the 49ers end up moving on to win the Super Bowl over the Chargers in a Super Bowl Battle of California. Final score is 29-25. Brock Purdy wins Super Bowl MVP, but hey, at least we got Offensive Rookie of the Year with Mark Reynolds. Despite a heartbreaking loss, we do get some great news here at the end of the season. Spencer Rattler is now a superstar dev trait. Reynolds and Ward we already knew were superstar X Factors, and then Chris Olave is now a superstar X Factor. This is actually going to be the first offseason where I have a lot of cap space. We are coming in with $84.4 million. We are going to take the 5th-year option on Brian Bursay. He really should have made the play that sent us to the Super Bowl, at least in my opinion, but we are going to go and take that 5th-year option. But I think everyone else is going to get to walk into free agency. Chase Young at a 90 overall has really no interest in coming back, and really our defense has not gotten that many sacks over the last few years, so I really want to see if I can improve that at all. Well, I definitely threw some money out in free agency. We have brought back Eddie Jackson to be our starting free safety. I signed defensive tackle Harrison Phillips. I signed middle linebacker Cole Holcomb, outside linebacker Dallas Turner, who is in free agency, and wide receiver Malik Neighbors, who is in free agency. I also brought in Quincy Williams, and then defensive end Trey Hendrickson. With the final mock draft here, we obviously won't pick until very late, so let's go ahead and go this way. They're projecting us to take wide receiver Dion Bolden. I don't know about that because we seem to have a pretty solid receiver room right now. And with our first round pick this year, we're actually going to end up taking a center and Joe Freeman out of California. Most likely, he's going to end up playing right guard, but welcome to the Saints. Unfortunately, that is a normal depth trait and that really does suck. You know what? In the second round, let's not go ahead and just settle for that one center. Let's go ahead and take right guard Tucker Whitworth. Maybe this guy will be a little bit better or even have a hidden dev trait. And Whitworth will have a hidden dev trait, and he's 21. I think the other guy was 22. Well, I really don't know which one of those two is going to end up starting because the center was 74 overall, the guard is 73. We then got a 69 overall left end, a 65 overall right tackle, a 65 overall quarterback, and a 64 overall center. I have made our goal this season to get back to the playoffs. Last year, we were one play away from getting to a Super Bowl appearance, so let's hopefully see if we're still a good team this year. Alright, what the hell happened to this team? We're now 2-4 on the year. We have the number 13th offense and the number 31 defense in points per game, but we're 15 on both offensive and defensive total rankings. But why in the hell are we all of a sudden now 2-4? EA simulation logic is just absolutely dog shit most of the time, but Rattler has 13 touchdowns with 3 interceptions. On the ground, Jaylen Warren 400 yards and 4 scores, and receiving Chris Olave 600 yards and 6 touchdowns. Malik Neighbors has 4 touchdowns, and Mark Reynolds has 3. Junior Ward, our tight end, has 0. Well, I guess from here we're now going to jump to the end of the season of Season 4 and see if we can't somehow turn this season around and get back into the playoffs, or if we're going to go into this final offseason in a do-or-die mode. We officially finished this season 7-10. I really don't know what went wrong. We have a 92 overall offense, an 89 overall defense, an 89 overall team. Maybe it's the playbooks. I could try to change the defensive playbook around because I feel like the offensive playbook is fine, but I really wish simulation was not based so much about what freaking playbook you were using. Rattler finishes with 4,700 yards, 35 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. Jaylen Warren ran for 16 touchdowns, and then receiving Olave got 10 scores. Mark Reynolds came away with 13, Malik Neighbors got 7, and Junior Ward got 3. Well, this year's Super Bowl actually became a rematch from a Super Bowl just a couple years ago, I believe in 2024. Yeah, Dallas beat Kansas City by 1 point. This year, Kansas City absolutely throttled them, beating them by 17. Going into this offseason, we do have $85.5 million in cap, but I'm pretty sure we're going to have to give some pretty solid contracts out. The first one is to our franchise quarterback, Spencer Rattler, who is now a superstar X Factor. I'm going to have to give him a ton of money because he apparently does not want to come back here. So we're going to up this money by quite a bit, and we're going to hope we can just pay him a ton of money to continue being our quarterback. This is definitely going to handicap this team in the future, but a massive contract, and he will be returning. We also have to give a pretty solid contract to Chris Olave, but luckily he has a ton of interest in coming back here, so we'll offer him this 4-year deal and he will be returning as well. Then we have our young corner and Kool-Aid McKinstry at the end of his 4-year contract. Let's give him another 4-year deal and he will be returning as well. We are going to be taking the 5th-year option on left end Enrique Brewer. I really see no reason not to. Marshawn Lattimore actually does not really want to come back. We're going to let him walk for now, along with Harrison Phillips, Kendre Miller, Ryan Ramczyk, because he also has really no interest in coming back. I think this team's going to look a bit different for the final season of this rebuild. The only free agent I am signing this year is corner Mekhi Blackmon, and now he's going to be a free safety because there really weren't any great free safeties in this class. He's a 78 overall free safety, and I feel like that's probably going to be pretty serviceable for us. The final mock draft here, we get to pick at number 12, and we are currently mocked right tackle Donovan Phelps. That probably wouldn't be bad because we do not have a good right tackle on the roster right now, but let's see exactly how it's going to play out. And yeah, the mock draft is going to be correct here because we're going to take right tackle Donovan Phelps out of Florida, 22 years old, A awareness, A impact block, A run block, B pass block. Welcome to New Orleans with a hidden depth trait. This player might end up being a bit of a reach for us, but Mitch Harrison out of Colorado comes in with B block shed, B tackle, B zone coverage, so we're going to go ahead and take this middle linebacker. He also has great speed and good acceleration, along with A awareness, C play rec. Yeah, I think this is going to be a pretty safe bet, even though it's a bit of a reach, but he will come in with a hidden depth trait as well. And with the final pick I am going to make in this rebuild, we have our third round pick, Dwayne Goldsberry out of Florida State. B block shedding, C power move. He is a defensive tackle, but he has elite strength here, so welcome to New Orleans, and he will also have a hidden depth trait. I don't think our final draft class was a bad one. We got a 73 overall right tackle, a 75 overall middle linebacker, a 71 overall defensive tackle, and then the computer took over and got a 73 overall corner, and then a 68 overall receiver, 66 overall guard, and a 67 overall outside linebacker. I didn't look at the top available players in the last draft, but I wanted to this year because it looked like there were two generational corners, and that's exactly what they ended up being. They're both 81 overall. We are going to make one trade before we officially kick off this season. That is going to be trading for safety Trayvon Moehrig from the Las Vegas Raiders. We have also made one more trade. We are trading a first and a second round pick in the next couple years for Byron Murphy to be our starting defensive tackle. When you are in the final season of a franchise rebuild, the only goal you can really set is to win the Super Bowl. Well, since this is going to be the final season of the rebuild, we're not even going to go to the midway point of the season. We're going to go right to the end and figure out if this team is going to make the playoffs or not. All hope is not lost because we have managed to win the division at 11-6, and we get to take on the Detroit Lions in the wild card round. Rattler goes for 4,500 yards, 34 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions this year. Jaylen Warren ran for 15 touchdowns, and receiving Chris Olave caught 10 touchdowns, Mark Reynolds caught 7, and Junior Ward, our tight end, actually caught 9 this year. Let's finally check on defense. I feel like I haven't done that in a while. Quincy Williams led the team in tackles. In sacks, we got 9 from Byron Murphy, and then interceptions, Dallas Turner came away with 3, along with Mekhi Blackmon. Unfortunately, it is not looking too good for us right now. With about 8:35 to go, we are down by 17. We're going to jump into this game, and that's going to be an incomplete pass. Rattler is 5 of 10 today. Have we just not been throwing the ball at all? Now in a 2nd and 10. At the 36-yard line, Rattler is back in shotgun again. He's going to take the snap and look to go downfield. Stand in the pocket. He fires this to the outside quickly. That's going to be caught up the sideline, and it's going to be about a 10-yard gain to set up a 3rd and inches. We kind of need to speed things up if we're going to get back into this game. On 3rd and inches, that's going to be a quick throw for an easy first down. We really need to start going downfield here. With a 5-wide set, Rattler will take the snap and look to go deep, hopefully. He is going to go deep downfield. He's got a man, and down the sideline, he is gone. Touchdown, Saints. This should be a 10-point game, thanks to Malik Neighbors. Now Jared Goff will come out at his own 21-yard line, and we really need to force a turnover. He comes out in shotgun. He will take the snap. It's a handoff to Gibbs, who goes up the middle, and he will get met and brought down for about a 3-yard carry to start this drive. Now a 2nd and 7. He'll line up under center again from the 24-yard line, and they're going to jump for a false start, or are we going to get called for that? Unfortunately, that one would be called on us, so now it's a 2nd and 2. At their own 29, they go back to the running back up the middle, and he will have the first down before getting brought down immediately following that at the 32. Obviously, the Lions are just looking to chew away at the clock. A little over 6 minutes to play. Goff out of shotgun. We'll drop back to pass here. Can we please get a big play? He's going downfield. He finds his man, and they will have the first down. He breaks that tackle and gets brought down, but they give him the first at the 42. Now under 6 minutes to play. Please, defense, we need to get the ball back to the offense at least one more time. 1st and 10. Run a play action. And he's going to go deep downfield here, and that one's going to get knocked out of the air. 2nd and 10. And I said we need to get the ball back to the offense at least one more time. Obviously, they need the ball twice, but either way, now 2nd and 10. Out of an I formation, he runs the play action. Can we get another incomplete ball? He's going deep downfield, but he's going to find a man wide open to about the 30-yard line. Now about 5 minutes to go here. Deep in Saints territory. It's going to be a play fake. Goff looking to go downfield, and he'll fire a quick pass for another first down. This one down to the Saints 11. A touchdown pretty much would end this game. 4:35 to play. Goff lines up under center. He's going to take the snap, run a play action to Gibbs. Now stand in the pocket, throw to the outside. That's caught by his tight end, who will be met and brought down, setting up a 2nd and 5 at the 6-yard line. Even holding them to a field goal would keep it a 2-score game for our offense. 2nd and 5. He lines up in an I formation again. They're going to hand it to Gibbs, who goes to the edge. He is met and brought down, setting up a 3rd and 4 at the 5-yard line. 3:35 to play here in the wildcard round. Goff is back in shotgun. Gibbs is still his running back. He will look to pass. Stand in the pocket. He's going to be under pressure, and he gets sacked on the play. They should settle for a field goal. That makes it a 13-point game, and now our offense will get the ball back. They send it deep. Let's see what kind of return we can get. They will bring this out of the end zone. He's going to get across the 20 and get met and brought down, ruled down to the 25-yard line. 2:56 to play for Spencer Rattler and our offense. And they need to move quickly. Rattler out of shotgun will look to go downfield. Fires over the middle. That'll be caught, I believe, by Chris Olave for about a 7-yard play. Now a no-huddle offense. 2nd and 3. At his own 32. He is the only one in the backfield. Rattler will look to pass. Another quick throw, and that was going to fall incomplete. I believe he missed Olave that time. Back in shotgun on 3rd down now. Trying to keep this drive alive. He will take the snap. Rattler looking to go downfield again. Goes downfield and will miss his man again. 4th and 3. If we don't get this, it's pretty much a game over for us. Rattler back in shotgun, still at his own 32-yard line. We'll take the snap. A quick throw to the outside. That is going to be caught and held on to by our tight end, Junior Ward, as we run a no-huddle offense, nearing the 2-minute warning. From our own 42-yard line, Rattler out of shotgun will drop back, and he's going to be under pressure. Finally get rid of it, and that one will fall incomplete. That was incredibly dangerous. Now with a 2nd and 10. Rattler back in shotgun again, will drop back to pass. And he's going to throw this one to the outside. That is caught by, I believe, our receiver. And that's going to be a 3-yard gain to set up a 3rd and 7 as we hit the 2-minute warning. We have got to start moving the ball downfield. Rattler back in shotgun. From the 45-yard line, he will take the snap. And he's going to throw this one to the outside. Caught by the receiver again, down to the 46. Running a no-huddle offense now. 1:45 to play. Still have not burned any of our 3 timeouts. Rattler will take the snap. And looks to go deep downfield. He'll throw to the outside. That'll be caught. And that time it's Chris Olave down to the 26-yard line. And he got out of bounds. So it does stop the clock with 1:38 to go. Rattler in shotgun still. He'll take the snap. Drop back. Now rolling to the outside. He's going to let this one go towards the end zone. And that one's going to get intercepted. And that is how this rebuild is going to end. Well, I managed to turn Spencer Rattler into a superstar X-Factor quarterback. But it was apparently not enough to win a Super Bowl. It took me a little bit too long to get out of cap hell with the Saints. We managed to do it eventually, and I feel like we built a really, really good team. Just could not get it done in these 5 seasons.